the newest Honda Civic, and this was the first Honda Civic. Everything that has happened to the Civic in the last 52 years will be reviewed today. In 1973, Honda made its first real car. I mean, coming from a motorcycle manufacturing background. This car was very small that it was easily misjudged. Honda sold this car under the slogan, "It will get you where you are going," and this car sold in numbers because it actually got people where they were going. It had an AC, it had a 2-speed transmission at the time, and it was only available in 2-door coupes or 3-door hatchback versions. A very compact car. Between 1980 and 1983, Honda made the second generation of the Civic. It was still the same small car, but this time it was roomier. They just made it more practical. This car had a very nice technology. It had something called the CVCC. I don't want to say it for me, it's not that important, but just imagine that the CVCC later became the VTEC. So this small car was a fuel-saving car. It was very economical, and it sold in numbers in America. Economical. In 1984, Honda Civic came back with a new look, new styling, everything was new. This car had a very tall wagon, a sporty 2-door coupe, and a practical sedan. Like back in the day, you do not have any excuse to not own a Civic because everything was available for you. Honda picked up its reputation for clear, easy-to-use controls and clean, space-saving, efficient interiors with this Civic. Between 1988 and 1991, the 4th generation of the Civic was here. It was just a more refined 3rd generation. The design wasn't new. It was just more refined, it looked better, the interior was better, it was just better in every way. This 4th generation also had the EX trim, which is the executive trim of the Civic. For the first time, we are seeing this. This trim had 105 horsepower, which was a lot for a compact sedan at the time. This particular Civic generation also had CRX, a very cool 2-door style looking car. It was the first introduction to what we now know as the panoramic roof. Like the roof was glass, it couldn't open, but it was glass and you could see through. This car looked very cool. The year is 1992, we are in the 90s obviously. All the sharp edges from the previous generation are now rounded off into curves, and that gives us the 6th generation looking all curvy, looking modern, looking new, handsome, sweet. Honda produced a lot of trims for this 6th generation Civic. All you needed to do was find the right one for you. There was EX, LX, CX, VX, DX, GX, a lot. This new Civic also introduced us to Honda's VTEC technology, which means variable valve timing and electronic lift control. So what VTEC does is that you have an engine, right? So when you are speeding, it allows you to save more fuel and the car becomes more efficient at high speed. When you're not speeding, it reduces the fuel the car will use. So the timing is being varied according to your speed. And that just makes sense. In fact, the 90s was the peak of Honda. From 1996, the Honda Civic became boring. Not gonna lie. So Honda started to focus on the mainstream, the executive, the corporate. We're focusing on build quality. No more sporty, cool, funky looking again. And it wasn't that bad after all. This car did what it was supposed to do. It looked executive, and at the time there was only the 4-door versions available. Although later they had to cave to pressure because a lot of people were requesting for 2-door of this car. So 4 years after, Honda released the Honda Civic Si, which had 2 doors. The year is 2001 and Honda is in its full corporate bag with the Civic. The 7th generation Civic was nothing like the rest. It did not even have any semblance to a sporty car. It was just an economical 1.6 litre 4-cylinder engine car that would do what you wanted it to do. Honda released a 2-door version, but this 2-door version did not even look sporty still. They just forced that 2-door thing to come out of this body. This car was not giving anybody any form of fun or life. It was just there. This is my least favorite Honda Civic generation. 2006 to 2011, the 8th generation Civic is here. Honda has taken us back to the sporty era. This car was a phenom. This car had really nice headlights, had a segmented body design, it looked sporty, it was just a cool looking car. And the interior, wait for it, it was hybrid. Not hybrid like electric and petrol, no. The car had a gale dye that was digital and analog at the same time. You see zeros and ones, and you also see needle moving. There was no car that could pull it off at the time. I mean, this is 2006. This car is looking like something from the future. Personally, it is my favorite Civic ever because this was the car I learned how to drive it. The year is 2012 and Honda totally lost the plot. Like, there was no plot when they were plotting. They lost it totally and gave us this design. The 9th generation Civic did not have any personality at all. It was just bland in front, at the back. Even the interior that took cues from the last generation, they did not pull it off well. It just looked like a misplaced child. Now, there was one thing that was consistent on the Civic from inception till date. It was a small car, yes, but it handled well for a car of its price. But you see this 9th generation Civic, zero. It handled like a box. It was just not good on the road. Between 2016 and 2021, Honda's atonement for their sins came in form of the 10th generation Civic. This car looked good, had creases, had a shape, had a personality, had a life. It wasn't the best looking car, but it looked like a Civic. It had its own personality. The Honda Civic Type R from this 10th generation was one of the few cars that carried a red Honda badge. Once you see Honda with a red badge, just know it is fire. Sadly, it was the last Honda Civic to be offered in a two-door body style. After the generation, two-door body style was cancelled by Honda. The 11th and the present generation of the Honda Civic came in 2022. Honda, on sensing that they went too hard in the previous generations, now they wanted to give us something clean, a clean design, a futuristic design. So they toned down all those bulges, the sharp edge, just made it into calm curves. The car looks futuristic, it looks calm, it looks gentle. Every one of these Honda Civic is equipped with a CVT. CVT is continuous variable transmission, meaning fuel economy is in check. I ask you now, what would you say is your best Honda Civic generation ever? Let me know in the comments. Let me even know if you like the Civic brand. Let me know how the Civic brand appeals to you. My name is Frank and this is 234.